So you welcome back from the break. So you heard from the general public about the impression they have in terms of. So they were specifically on the issue about MPs being secured in terms of they having policemen protecting them. So I have in the studios Mr. Adib Saani. Obviously, you've heard from him. You might have seen him on various platforms. He's here today for us to discuss security ahead of the December post. We obviously touch on the policemen who are to indeed safeguard the protection or protect our parliamentarians. That was yesterday or so. The Interior Minister laying to bear that 200 policemen have been deployed to protect MPs. So we are going to discuss that as well. It's very important, our security situation here. So without much ado, let me introduce him for us to indeed start the discussion. Mr. Adib Saani, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ruben.
How are you doing?
By its race.
It's a pleasure having you. I'm sure you were engaged this morning, but you had to make time to come.
Exactly. It's good to be here.
Thanks.
You have a very friendly staff.
Wow.
Exactly.
We are grateful. But to set the ball rolling, what's your general impression about the security situation in the country?
Well, first and foremost, it is important and instructive to note that since 2017, crime is being on the ascendancy.
Okay.
These are not figures I am manufacturing. This is according to the Ghana Police Service and even the Bureau of Public Safety. They published, their statistics on the rate of crime in the country over the period, and it's going up. In 2019, the U.S. State Department released a report, a travel advisory of some sort to their citizens coming to Ghana, and they explicitly stated that crime is increasing. There are well over 1.2 million illegal guns in the system. As a matter of fact, that figure is from my alma mater, the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center.
Okay.
When they conducted a baseline survey, somewhere between 2014 and 2015. So it's an old figure.
Oh.
Yes. So what in essence this means is there are more, if not, I'm sure way more than double of that figure currently. Just that I wouldn't have the statistics.
So they did the argument on the previous one.
Exactly. And on an annual basis, there are over 500 murders in the country. I do know that a lot of these murders go unreported. So if a lot of it is supposed to be reported or investigated, I'm sure it would go way beyond that figure. Because in Ghana, anytime we see someone dead with a rat poison beside him, what does it mean? Suicide.
Yeah.
Or someone dangling from a tree, with a rope, with a noose around his neck. It's suicide.
Yeah.
But perhaps, we don't know. It could be murder, but someone staged the crime scene to make it look like suicide. So that one is not even part of that statistic, But what is more disturbing is the travel advisory pointing to the fact that local authorities lack the capacity to counter the threats. And just last month, on the 21st, a similar travel advisory was issued by the U.S. State Department. We have, on a more rampant, very frequent basis, robberies, and the criminals have become so vicious, they've become so emboldened, encouraged to the extent that they are able to hit high-value targets. They can go after a police station, seize weapons, kill an officer like it happened at Wabinya. They can target police personnel in broad daylight. So we have a problem in the country. Just like any society, you cannot have it being more like utopian. No, there's crime. However, when it becomes so rampant
and the number keeps
increasing, then you have every reason to be worried, because the height of irresponsibility, the height of incompetence is doing the wrong thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So when we reduce security management of the country to just the procurement and donation of pickups or vehicles, it would not take us anywhere. I mean, it is a far larger issue. We have some fundamental issues that needs to be addressed. Unfortunately, with a heavy heart, we have a competent lot at the helm of affairs. Yes, and their chief incompetent person is the National Security Minister. In fact, when this incompetent? He is so incompetent.
Why are you saying this?
If there were a word beyond that, if there were a description beyond that word, I wouldn't hesitate to using it.
Because obviously you have a reason for saying that.
Of course. I mean, when the president came to power, one of the first appointments he made was the National Security Minister. In the previous regimes, we didn't have National Security Minister. But in line with the Security and Intelligence Agencies Act, now we do have a National Security Minister who is supposed to coordinate the activities of the various intelligence and security agencies in the country. You see, in the past, the BNI would do their intelligence gathering, keep it to themselves like their pension pay slip. CID would do it, keep. Military intelligence would do it, keep. But with the coming of the National Security Minister, he would coordinate. So there's synergy. Okay. Unfortunately, things are worse despite the appointment of several other security people. Because one, our intelligence capability is at an all-time low. This Western Togolanders, we have allowed it to simmer for a very long time. In fact,
it's at an all-time low.
Yes.
Any empirical evidence to that effect?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, and I'm coming to that.
Okay.
And I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I was watching my old videos I did on the Western Togoland issue, and I made some statements that made me feel like a prophet. I told them, look, if we don't improve intelligence at that area, things would get worse. They will become emboldened, and the next time it will not be the holding of press conferences or hoisting of flags. It will be something much more serious. Trust me, nobody cared about it. We arrested them, sent them to court, no evidence, they were let off the hook. We went to their training camp, arrested some too, they were left off the hook. Currently, as we speak, those who were arrested recently, the judge has threatened that he would release them. He would let them go.
She's threatened?
Yes.
Why is she demanding for something that she's not getting?
Because we don't have the evidence.
Okay.
You get me? It's back and forth. The lawyers are complaining they've not bathed since they were arrested for days. They've not bathed, and like it's been back and forth. Nothing concrete is coming out of it.
I don't think we have a problem with that. When we get to hold the people responsible, we still want evidences to that effect.
You see, the judge doesn't care about your truth or my truth.
Okay.
You don't go to the competent court of jurisdiction and base your arguments on emotions or hearsay. You need empirical evidence, and in the course of the program, I'll break it down because we need to modernize crime and investigation.
Okay.
Most of the evidence we put before the courts when we take suspects to the court are usually circumstantial. Oh, Ruben, you were there at the point the crime was perpetrated, and so you did it. Does it make sense?
Okay.
The murder weapon was found in your car, so you killed the person. That is circumstantial.
It's not an evidence.
It's not empirical. You get me?
Yeah.
But because of the fact that we've not modernized crime and investigation, we don't use DNA, we don't use fingerprints. You know, most of the investigation processes is manual. The intelligence agencies are not able to gather the right intelligence. They remain largely ill-equipped, largely not trained. And yesterday's insecurity is not as today. It's dynamic. It changes. Like, because of new issues. Now we have religious fundamentalism. Water can cause war. Like it is happening, it is threatening to happen between Ethiopia and Egypt because of the construction of the Grand Renaissance Dam. Okay, the River Hindi in India is a problem, and it cuts across not just India, Pakistan, and all that. So if you construct a dam, it prevents the flow of the water. It can cause war because of new actors, because of new interests, because of new weapons. Now, rape is a weapon of crime. Okay, climatic, yes, it's no longer only about guns. You know,
it's no more a civic situation.
It's not. No. I mean,
it's criminal now. It's a crime.
It has graduated. You know, first we think it's all about guns. Now, rape can be a weapon to get at you. You know, because of different issues. During the Cold War era, insecurity was between states. Now it's within states, intra-states. Now we have issues of guerrilla warfare. We have issues of asymmetric warfare between a state actor and a non-state actor like Nigeria and Boko Haram. Okay, but all of these was ignored. These guys hoisted their flag, mounted signages, took the whole state, the nation, the whole country hostage. And you come out to say intelligence was gathered and that they wanted to burn the market. But they attacked 2 police stations. The market and the police station, which is more fortified.
But probably he's trying to say it could have been more. Had it not been for their intervention, it would have been worse.
It's just political statements. What is worse than attacking a police station? Juxtapose market, police station. In fact, they incarcerated the officers, released the inmates, seized, or should I say, stole 10 AK-47 assault rifles. And you tell me they couldn't burn the market when they could attack a police station and discharge 19 pellets into the Sugakope divisional commander.
Maybe they had intensified security around the market area.
The police station and the market, where is security more fortified? No.
But you know,
okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. There was intelligence. What happened less than 24 hours after that statement? There was intelligence. Did they attack STC in the voter
They
region?
changed their strategy from market down to STC.
Good. So the thing is, do you know the distance between the STC yard and the police command there? It's a walking distance. And the military barracks is not far from there. So they are sending a clear signal. Trust me, Ruben, if they want to hit us hard, they can hit us really, really hard. Way harder than it has happened. You know these electric pylons, these large high tension pylons, you know they are scattered across the length and breadth of the country. And some of them are in remote areas. If they knock out one, it can affect the power supply to a whole region. We are so vulnerable. These dams, these bridges, we are extremely vulnerable. And what is happening is revealing some very dark secrets about our intelligence in Ghana. If Western Togolanders, we are not deal with them, stop them in their tracks, how can we stop terrorism, which is even more complicated than these guys? We need to be very careful as a country. That is why I am saying that National Security Minister should resign, because most of this has to do with intelligence failure. And as someone who is supposed to coordinate activities of intelligence, of the intelligence community in Ghana, he has to take responsibility. You and I, who pay taxes, okay, should also learn to hold public officers to account for certain inefficiencies. This is not born out of malice, or it is born out of the fact that the end justifies the means. We care about the end, and what has been the end? Total chaos.
How about the individuals we employ into our security services? Do we even go through the right process? Do we get the right individual? Because it's been more politicized. Individuals where you find with political parties as vigilante, whatever, you see them being inculcated into the security services. Is that also a reason? If the National Security Minister is doing the right thing, but the individuals who are within the security agencies are not the qualified, are we going to achieve the right result?
Of course not. But you see, the thing is, this cuts across the political divide. It is not exclusive to this current government
at all.
Things are getting worse by the day. You know, we have people like Double getting into this national security. We have people who are phone dealers, and the next minute they are in an elite unit within the national security and all that. There are situations where it is alleged people go with their party cards to get their way into the security agencies, especially the intelligence, you know, services. That is worrying, because in the past, before you even get employment at Foreign Affairs Ministry, they need to do background checks. They would go back to your alma mater, recall, your files, speak with your childhood friends. But these days, we just employ. Once someone has recommended you, or you have some, influence elsewhere, and that is disturbing, because we are leveraging the security of the state. when a different party comes to power, oh, you are not part of us, go, and they will bring theirs. And you know the national security secrets they go with? And out of frustration, these terrorist groups can approach them. You see, we told you, the state is against you. So what do you have to tell us? And you know, but these are things we are not thinking about. You know, all we are thinking about is politics and the experience and, you know, the bigotry. But we are failing to address the real fundamental issues which could pose existential threat to the peace and security of Ghana. And nobody seems to be doing anything about it. So I think there's the need for a total overhaul. In not just in not just the security arrangement, but even our way of, you know, thinking. We need to reconscientize ourselves, because it's all about politics. I mean, whatever your political party does is right. Whatever the other political party does is wrong. I was recently in Tamale for a stakeholders program, and the regional director of the National Commission for Civic Education, which actually is my, you know, direct brother, he said something that I found extremely interesting. He said that how come NDC finds everything former President John Mahama does, you know, good, and finds everything the current president does bad? So is it that JM has never made a mistake, or the current president has never done anything good for the country, and vice versa? Does it make sense?
Yes.
You know, so let us go beyond the politics of patronage and address these issues in the very best interest of the country. We have fundamental issues with our security. What are we doing about it?
Okay. Now I want us to shift our attention, though it's still on the security matters, but you recently wrote an article on the police security for MPs, and what was the content for those who haven't had a chance to read it?
Well, I'm very much opposed to the provision of armed guards to the members of parliament, because we are only succeeding in superficially trying to deal with the issue when it is a broader national security issue. You see, it is tantamount to solving the flood situation, especially in the north, when the Bagri Dam is, you know, opened, by giving the people canoes to ride on when their communities get flooded. You cannot give canoes for them to ride on as a means to solving the problem. No, you have to go to the very fundamentals. What do we do about it? Or it's just like a farmer getting rid of weeds on his farm. Instead of uprooting it or attacking the DNA of the plant with what's it called, with pesticides or, you know, insecticides, those things, you are rather trimming the leaves. You are not completely getting rid of the issue. You are rather superficially, ceremonially trying to make a statement, and that is currently what is happening. It's a broader issue. If you address it from that broader, multi-dimensional, multifaceted approach, it would inure to the benefit of all of Ghanaians, including parliamentarians. Look, I've heard a number of parliamentarians speak, and even Honorable Osechi, according to him, our opposition to it is born out of envy and jealousy. I've heard Ras Mubarak and, you know, who say, let's go beyond emotions, let's speak to the issues. I mean, I love to analyze based on science. You get me? Let's do this analysis. The Minister of Interior said that we have enough men. It is not true. We don't have enough police officers. The current police population is about 35,000. Okay. A lot of these officers are assigned to ministers, over 100, MMDCs, heads of certain state institutions, private sector, you know, banking, financial institutions. Some are on peacekeeping duty. So a lot of the chunk has been, you know, is out. Okay, Ruben, let's pretend they are all available for us. The 35, they are all available. That notwithstanding, the ratio is 1 to 900. The UN standards puts it at 1 to 500. So what do you mean if you say we have enough men? Okay, let's put that one aside. You tell us you are giving parliamentarians 200 police officers. By the close of the year, you add another 200. And going into the future, you would add 800. Making it 1,002. Okay, now multiply the 1,002 by the 900 based on that ratio. That is over 1 million Ghanaians. 1,080,000 Ghanaians. Their security leveraged 275 MPs. Does it make sense? Okay, now let's break it down further. These criminals have become so vicious. They are able to go, like I said, after even police officers in broad daylight. They are able to attack police stations. They are able to go after bullion vans, for crying out loud. Bullion vans, every criminal knows a bullion van travels with a police officer with a fully loaded AK-47.
Yes.
But they're able to attack it. How much less an officer following an MP sitting in the front of the V8 with a pistol? Do you know how these people attack? From nowhere, in the bush, in fact, they will fall. What they do is they will block the road with a tree trunk, mostly. When you get there, from nowhere, they appear. 4 or 5 people, all AK-47, blazing, left, right, center. Pa, 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 pa. How do you expect you to be so? Let's be realistic. If they want to come after you, they would come after you.
But we definitely have to do something.
Yes, we have to do something.
Which is what they are doing.
No, because we are only succeeding in superficially, like I indicated, surface, trying to make a statement. It is just a ceremonial gesture. It doesn't provide any functional security to the MP. Besides, on annual basis, over 500 Ghanaians are killed. Out of the 500, how many are MPs? Ameswal, is he an MP? Professor Bene, is he an MP? Madam Josephine Asante, is she an MP? Please, let's not be so inward looking. Let's not be so selfish. But let us approach this issue holistically.
But you know we can't provide security for everybody in the country.
No, of course not.
It could be, at least it will be a certain group of people.
So going forward, you are a journalist, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes you conduct investigative pieces. Obviously, either advertently or inadvertently, you can step on people's foot, okay?
Yeah.
That makes you ultimately a legitimate target, right? So tomorrow, GJ comes out, oh, we need security for all of journalists. You think it's probable? Tomorrow, security analyst, we always talk about security, we give security tips, we condemn criminal activities, make the work of the criminals very difficult by the day. That would also make us legitimate targets, isn't it? So tomorrow, if we also come out and say we need pastors, a pastor was killed in Tema not very long ago. They also come, imams and all that. You cannot provide security to everybody. But that is why it is important to you see, dealing with it holistically doesn't mean providing security to everybody, boot to boot. No, that is not how it is done. We have fundamental issues within the state that needs to be addressed, which will invariably translate into providing security for all. And I can, you know,
sure. Let's touch on them.
One, first and foremost, Robin.
Yeah.
This one, let's talk science. Today we are in a classroom. There's something in criminology called situational crime prevention.
Okay.
That is simply based on the fact that you can prevent crime, you can mitigate crime by making it risky for people to commit crime. It is based on another theory called rational choice theory. A criminal is human. He thinks. Before he commits the crime, he juxtaposes the risk against the reward. If the reward is more than the risk, he would commit. If the risk, such as the possibility or probability of him getting caught when he commits the crime, outweighs the rewards, he will be discouraged. Okay? So how do we get people to be discouraged? Let's modernize crime and investigation first.
Okay. By modernizing, what do you mean by that?
Most of the investigation processes, like I earlier on said, is manual. Most of the evidence is circumstantial. But now, modern day technology has what we call biometric systems, which can be used to pin people to crime scenes. Okay? We have the biometrics databases in Ghana. Before you get a passport, don't they take your fingerprints and all that? It's a database. The voters registration exercise. they took our biometric information. National health, they take your biometric. National identification, they take your biometric. In fact, even SNIT, they take. Why don't we integrate these systems and do some little changes in the law, and under very strict conditions, make it accessible to law enforcement? So when a police officer comes to this studio, it's a crime scene, and touched everywhere, they can easily use the powder and the brush and collect the fingerprint, run it in the system, and Ruben, it will do magic. This is no rocket science. When you go to other jurisdictions, they have what we call DNA. US, for example, they have the codex. Okay, it's used to solve crimes that were committed in the 70s and 80s. So when you are an offender, a first-time offender, they would collect your DNA and just put it in the system, because the culture of recidivity is very high. That is, someone doing the wrong thing, serves time, comes out and goes back to his old ways. So when you have it in the system and you go to a crime scene, you are able to collect DNA. It can help solve a lot of these crimes. In fact, between the 70s and 80s, there was someone called the Golden State Killer. He raped and killed a lot of women. He was never caught because DNA didn't exist then. Then one day, police arrested a young man for some minor traffic issue. In the US, they collected his DNA, ran it, and then put it in the system, and the system automatically prompted them, this DNA is related to the Golden State Killer.
How does it work?
It uses something we call genealogy. It is able to trace the family tree.
Wow.
So
these things are very expensive.
They are not as expensive as the VS we buy left, right, center. You know? So they traced it to his yes, they traced it to his grandfather, D'Angelo. He is a former cop who is now in his 90s as the Golden State Killer. You understand? Wow. We have about 2-3 crime labs in Ghana. It's not enough. Let us have crime labs in every regional capital. When the criminals get to understand that now if you perpetrate a crime, you'll be caught, they'll be discouraged. Like we have CCTVs all over. It's a good thing, but just that nationals, they don't have the wisdom, excuse my language, to engage some of us. So we go out there and educate the public on the need to protect that national asset, because it's good for us. Who has educated anyone on or someone on this issue? No. We just wake up in the morning and we see it all over the place. But it is in our best interest to protect it. It's a national asset. Okay? Let us deal with the issue of small arms and light weapons in Ghana. It's another catalyst to the issues we are facing in this country. Because once criminals have the weapons, in some cases, they have more firepower than the police. What are we doing about it? We have a fledgling local gun manufacturing industry in Ghana. Really, if they put a locally manufactured gun here and put a foreign one here, and they tell you to identify which is made in Ghana, you cannot tell. You wouldn't believe it. Look, it is clinical. Especially Volta region, the north towards Boku. They have those factories. Those
in this country.
They behave like they are blacksmiths, you know, but behind the scenes, in that small room inside, they manufacture these weapons. And the thing about it is, every gun comes with a barrel, and when you fire, the bullet can be traced to that gun. But with the local ones, you cannot trace it because the barrel doesn't have that distinct signature. So it becomes extremely difficult. So what are we doing about it? Are we thinking of legalizing them so we can mainstream, give them licenses? So at least before someone comes to buy it, the person will have to go through the police. We have an Arms and Ammunition Act that says the IGP is supposed to have a central register of all weapons in Ghana. Okay, before you get your gun, you have to go through the permits, the licensing, and all that. But recently, I was listening to the Small Arms Commission, and they contend that only 40,000 of the over 1 million registered guns were renewed last year. So we have their names, their next of kings, we have their biometric data, their pictures. Why don't we follow up? What is happening in the country? People are sleeping on the job.
Time is gone. Wow. We have 5 minutes. I want us to touch on the security situation in the country ahead of the December polls. What should we do? What measures should we put in place, both from the security point of view as well as the electorate?
Well, I think the most important way to address this is for you and I understanding security. Awareness creation is important. Many of these things I've mentioned is, you know, towards the future, such as having even a national having a national security strategy, because most of the way we address security in Ghana is on ad hoc basis. Afterthoughts. Oh, something has happened to MPs. Let's give them security. Tomorrow, something will happen to security analysts. Let's give them security.
Thought through.
It's not thought through. It's not planned. But with a national security strategy, which is reviewed after every, you know, point in time, in line with the changing trends, you are able to predict and preempt and prevent a lot of these things from happening. If we had a national security strategy, I'm sure the Western Togoland wouldn't even have happened, because we would have understood the seriousness of the issue and committed resources to dealing with it. You get me? But overall, like I indicated, you and I have a responsibility to ensure security at our personal level. The cameraman ensures his personal security, you ensure your personal security, I ensure my personal security. When we harness it, it inures to the benefit of national security. Let's be conscious. Let's be very vigilant in our communities. Let's eschew that culture of the Ufiasem. Because what happens in your neighbor's house can get to you when you are leaving the home. Let's stop leaving the keys under the doormat, in the flower pot, under the flower pots. When you are driving, be mindful of your environment. Who is following you? If someone is following you, what do? You drive to the nearest roundabout, go around 2-3 times just to be sure. Okay? And if you are sure the person is following you, go to the nearest police station or go to the nearest public space and seek help. Please, let's be careful with the information we put out there on social media. We give so much information on social media. So no wonder when I have a discussion with Ruben about a shoe, the next minute on WhatsApp, the next minute I go on Facebook, shoe adverts all over. It is called phishing, not the FI, the PHI. Okay? The cookies we accept, every website we go. You know, everything we click on social media. Oh, click here to see who secretly admires you. Click here to see how you look like in the future. Click here to see your... All of it, we are compromising our data. But a lot of us don't know. There are still a lot of Ghanaians who fall for, oh, I mistakenly sent you 1,000 CDs on mobile money. Please send it back. People need to be educated. So overall, you and I have a responsibility at a very personal level, you know, to ensure our security and to improve community security in the long run. Thank you.
But what are you up to? What are you up to at the moment?
Well, interviews. Look, on daily basis, I can have about 120 interview requests. You know, from 120 media houses. Wow. I'm also into the provision of security systems, and I've done it for a lot of MPs. I do security audits for them. I install the systems for them in their homes, at their offices. But a lot of them also feel their constituents love them, there's no need. Okay, so security, let's invest in security. It's extremely key. So I mean, that's
your number if it's appropriate.
0244 985099 0244 985099. We provide CCTVs, tracking devices for vehicles, access controls. It is important to, you know, invest in security. You don't have to wait for something to happen before you start running looking for solutions. No, be proactive, don't be reactive.
Thank you. Adib Saani is a security expert. Thanks for joining us. Since you are around, we'll be reaching you more for these security tips. I mean, especially in these 2 months where we are heading towards elections, we will have some of these security issues coming up.
Ruben, thank you.
Thank you so much. So Adib Saani is a security expert. He joined us for the second segment, and I'm sure you might have learned. No, you should learn. Yes, I'm sure you've learned about it, and you'll be very protected. You'll be secured ahead of the elections. And myself, my name is Ruben Tete, and my guys joined me for the first segment, Godfred and Samilia. We also had Madam Beecham from Pentacle Hospital from Medina. Yes, so we'll be here same time next week, God willing, around the same time. Have a good morning.